Kentucky quarterback Will Levis is one of the top quarterback draft prospects in this year's class and may have one of the highest ceilings as well. He's got an absolute rocket for an arm. He's a very good athlete at the quarterback position and can be a part of the quarterback running game. The biggest concern, though, is the inconsistencies you saw throughout his play in 2022 compared to what we saw in 2021. Now, he was going through some injuries. He did have a change in offensive coordinator and poor offensive line play, but the reality is he is going to need some time to develop at the next level. My comp for him is Matt Stafford of the Los Angeles Rams. If you go back to watching Matt Stafford at Georgia, he had a strong arm, a lot of natural raw skills, but also had some issues with accuracy during his time there. The bottom line is Will Levis should probably play right away, but he's going to need some time to develop.
Northwestern tackle Peter SKORONSKI is considered the best tackle in this draft class. I do not see it that way. I think he's going to have to move inside the guard. He has short arms, and when you look at the trend in the NFL, college tackles moving inside the guard, there's been some really good players like Zach Martin of the Dallas Cowboys who made that transition. I think SKORONSKI can make that transition, move inside and become a dominant guard. He's good in the run game, he's good in pass protection, but I think those short arms will bother him and impact his ability on the next level. So move him inside, make him a guard, make him an all-pro guard because he's a tough physical player. He will be good in the run game. I just don't think he has the arm length to hold up outside. So he's going to be a guard in the NFL. Who's the comparison? Joe TUNEY of the Kansas City Chiefs. And when you watch Joe TUNEY, he was a tackle in college, moved inside the guard. That's who he reminds me of.
TYJAE Spears out of Tulane at 5'9", 204 pounds, tremendous tailback. Reminds me a lot of BREECE Hall and what he brings to the table. He has outstanding vision, explosiveness, and burst for the position. He's someone that can really hit that second and third level of acceleration to really eke out those deeper, longer runs, despite not running a 4.2 or 4.3 and a 40-yard dash. He's a very good receiver out of the backfield. Now, where he has to work on, as with many backs, pass pro needs a little bit more refinement in terms of technique. Now, he knows who to block. It's about getting your body and footwork and hands in position to make that block more consistently. And that's an area where he's going to have to get better on as he moves forward to the next level.
Cincinnati tight end Josh Whyle is a player that has good size, he has good length for the position, and he has soft hands in the range to go high or low. He showed improvement over the past year and is still growing into his frame. Whyle has had modest production throughout his career. While his height makes him an ideal outlet in chain-moving situations, it negatively impacts his ability to sink his hips into route breaks. The Cincinnati area native also needs to gain strength just to get off jams at the line of scrimmage. He struggles to sustain blocks in space, but has made an effort since the season ended to gain weight, maintain that weight, and show that he has more room to grow in the blocking perspective. Whyle has a good body control to adjust at the catch point, and he projects as a role player early in his career that could develop into a long-term starter. We have compared him to former Rams tight end Tyler HIGBEE.
JAELYN Duncan was a 4-year starter at Maryland, but what's intriguing about him as an NFL prospect is that he moved all along the offensive line. He finished as a tackle, he played a little bit of guard, and that's why an NFL team should look at Duncan and think there are so many different ways that we could use him. His best season, maybe perhaps, was the 2020 season, but this is a player who, in terms of his technique and in terms of his knowledge of the game, is still getting better. He only started playing football at 14 years old. And so you've always looked at him as being someone who's got a big ceiling. That's why he's a highly touted prospect coming out of high school. So some NFL team is going to look at JAELYN Duncan, look at his experience and his physical traits, and think that is somebody who can build depth to our room. And that's why I've got him penciled in as an NFL comp for Arizona Cardinals offensive tackle DJ Humphrey.
Boise State's Tyreque Jones is an experienced defensive back with great production. He has versatility covering the slot and playing down in the box. At the NFL Combine, he ran the 40-yard dash in 4.52 seconds with a 1.61 second 10-yard split. His high cut frame leads to slower transitions across the field. Missed tackles have been a problem for him as well. According to True Media, he had a 25.0% missed tackle rate in 2022. Jones has some starting caliber qualities and should be competing for snaps in training camp. We have compared him to former Titans safety Robert Johnson.
Jacob Copeland, wide receiver out of Maryland, reminds me of TRISHTON Jackson. More athlete than wide receiver, the Florida transfer also has value as a kick returner. Copeland, who feels like a running back in a wideout's body, excels with the ball in his hands because of his yards after catch ability. But he needs to refine his route running and eliminate focus drops that plagued him at times during his career. At 5'11", 204 pounds, he's compactly built, and that 4.42 speed in the 40 only confirms what he showed on tape. He's a legit return threat, too. As a receiver, Copeland explodes off the line of scrimmage and eats up cushions in a hurry, but he can be a little stiff getting in and out of his breaks. And despite his run-through-a-wall mentality, he doesn't offer much in the way of contested catches, and he'll be 24 years old once training camp gets underway. KEARIS Jackson, wide receiver out of Georgia, reminds me of James PROCHE. He was a part-time player for the Bulldogs who had a knee injury in 2021, but Jackson has legit speed to threaten cornerbacks on the outside, and he forces safeties to be decisive on the middle of the field reads. He also shows an ability to track deep balls and excels in contested catch situations. Added bonus, he offers something as a returner, both as a kick returner and punt returner, and those abilities show up in the quick game too. Get the ball on a tunnel screen or an end around, and his short area quickness shines. He runs hard with the ball in his hands, and he has the contact balance to regularly bounce out of tackles in space. Jackson ran a pedestrian 4.55 at the combine, but he plays much faster on tape. And he'll need to refine his route running, but he's a day one asset on special teams.